And here he presents a new form of escapism, such as a modern cave, and proposes to rethink the ethylene used in the production of this wallpaper is of natural origin and comes from what is called wood pulp. This year the company has launched the works of designers from different countries are presented, who in their works combine technology and so-called savoir-faire, or more. Hello friends, we're back in Paris and again at the Maison&Objet fair, and this is a jubilee year, by the way, because the exhibition turns 30 years old in 2024. In fact, it is quite young, but considering that it is held twice a year, probably it has already traveled a long way, and today we will get acquainted first of all with the trend zones and find out what new trends in design, or maybe all trends in design, will be relevant this year. So as always, sit back and it will be very interesting. And of course, do not miss the next issues, because it is impossible to fit everything that is happening this week in Paris into one episode. The general theme of this session is called Teaden, i.e. a technological paradise. And here it is proposed to combine all the technological innovations that surround us and that are developing at an insane pace with natural motifs and natural materials. And in principle, combining one with the other seems very important to the organizers. This idea is also revealed very well by trendsetter Elisabeth Leriche, who traditionally makes an installation in What's New zone. And in this case, it is called What's New in Decore. There are new territories. First is Meta Vegetal. It is such an enchanted jungle that combines organic motifs and geometric patterns that are derivative of nature and a derivative of technology. Very saturated colors, very bright and lively, and the jungle is indeed very magical. The next zone is Deep Sea, which features a vibrant display of sea creatures, including patterns with scallops, shells, and corals, as well as other intriguing objects. And the objects are both handcrafted and 3D printed, with very interesting materials at times. I really like the polymer, which is literally alive. You really get almost in every sense a natural substance in your interior. And of course, here it is important to note that the trend for circular economy and recycling of materials, including natural materials, is also revealed very well, and several ideas are offered on how to recycle, for example, oyster shells. And here, I think Paris could be the #1 supplier of these shells. Naturally, the shells from Coquille Saint-Jacques, that is, from scallops, from mussels, in general, everything goes into business, and you get very interesting finishing materials. The same applies to seaweed. It turns out that they can be used to make interior items, both quite small and larger. A very interesting technology is offered by a young French specialist. The third zone is the mineral desert, which is saturated with earthy tones, sand, which is abundant in the desert, terracotta, straw, and so on. The interiors are very sensual, warm, and very textured due to the rich materials presented. Natural clay, ceramics, burlap, and other materials are present, and it looks quite restrained and elegant. In addition to handicraft practices, there are also more modern production methods, but using the same clay, originally a natural material. What is also worth noting is the architecture of the trend zone, because this time it emphasizes the content. Each block, jungle, sea or desert is presented in a separate geometric volume. It is interesting that well-known companies that work in a very specific style also apply these trends of naturalness to their well-known collections. Our longtime partner Devon & Devon has its Metropolitan collection in natural open matte wood, and the tabletop is not polished as usual, but has a very pleasant honed surface. This proves that even classic interiors can incorporate trends. By the way, as for the enchanted plots, Muscle Wonders came up with these plots a couple of years ago, so we can say that he has the originator of this trend. What a visionary! And to finish with sanitary ware, we must say that in principle in ceramics the colors shown by Elisabeth Le Riche have been used, if not for a very long time, then for quite some time. And marine themes, deep blues, greens, colors of the sea wave, and earthy, ochre and terracotta shades. Also textures imitating natural materials and natural stones are present here. If you want to see more, we have a great series of reports from the Chersaia exhibition. If you are also interested in tiles, refer to these reports too. The Wall & Decor booth is a vivid example of all the current trends. Let me remind you that this is a company that produces vinyl wallpaper. But now it's not just vinyl, it's so-called biovin. It's a material that has a natural origin. The ethylene used in the production of this wallpaper is of natural origin and comes from what is called wood pulp. This year the company has launched a whole series that is now made of this material, and this series will soon be available. The name of it is Deore. This wallpaper, despite the fact that it is of natural origin and complies with all the principles of sustainability, is still as durable as regular vinyl. It is beautiful, and by the way, it costs the same as regular wallpaper. And that's really cool, because usually sustainable materials cost more, and there's a trade-off, because you have to have a certain budget to be environmentally conscious. Now that problem has been solved. As far as the designs are concerned, they are in line with current trends too. The designs here are mostly natural motifs, and these natural motifs are on such a gigantic scale. These are the huge leaves of the Arbole collection, the wonderful naiads, and the absolutely stunning Serena tranquility. As for the natural landscapes, they all very wonderful here too. The absolute grace of the savanna, and since we are in Paris, France, we couldn't do without Giverny. Giverny is the place where Claude Monet's house is located, and where he painted the famous lilies on his picturesque pond. Another important addition is that the Deore collection offers two textures. The first one is called texture. It resembles canvas. The second texture has a more delicate, almost smooth surface. It is called sand. But nevertheless, when you look closely, you will see this fine sand again from the desert. And since the main theme of the exhibition is Teaden, which is both technology and nature, technology in the form of architecture was also present. New collection is Arcantico, antique arches. Of course, Italy is famous for its heritage, and it is from this country that the company Wall & Decor, and also Archivista. It is worth remembering that the company Wall & Decor customizes its designs to the architectural features of the room where the wallpapers will be installed. So if you have a window in the way of the arch, you can ask a little to modify it, so that the arch is intact and the window fits in it. This applies to absolutely all designs and is a regular feature for Wall & Decor's work. This year, not only Maison&Objet is celebrating its anniversary, but also the Maison Bakar manufacturer. Naturally, it is a little bit older, to put it mildly. Bakar is 260 years old this year, and in order to start celebrating this event, they organized an immersive show called Alchemy. They show how these wonderful and very expensive objects are born. We were at Maison Bakar last design week in September 2023, and it's really cool, and the pieces are amazing. So you can see a little bit more in the Maison&Objet 2023 review, because nothing has changed in that sense. Bakar is still gorgeous. As you may remember, every session Maison&Objet chooses the designer of the year, and this year it's Mathieu Lehanneur. By the way, he designed the Olympic torch for the Olympics to be held in Paris in the summer of 2024. And here he presents a new form of escapism, such as a modern cave, and proposes to rethink our relationship with nature. And of course, we are all concerned for sure about the survival of mankind. And here Matthew suggests not to hide in a bunker, but to hide in such a modern cave and live alone with nature in such a minimal but optimal dwelling. The dwelling offers a concise set of functions and is housed in a modest volume. The exterior of the dwelling is brightly colored, making it easy to spot and locate accurately. A sort of wind farm on top powers the dwelling with renewable energy. In order to minimize losses, the windows here are digital. We see here a kind of technological add-on. You are in a solitude, alone with nature, but at the same time you are provided with all those benefits that are already quite hard to refuse. Maybe that is why this project is called Autonomy. A kind of play on words. It is autonomy, but different. Friends, we have another anniversary here. If you are subscribed not only for this channel but also to a travel channel, you may remember the episode from Aveiro, where there is a very famous porcelain manufacturer in Portugal called Vista Alegre. Vista Alegre is celebrating its 200th anniversary this year. Vista Alegre has a rich tradition of using artisanal methods to produce ceramics. They also collaborate with renowned designers such as Ross Lovegrove and Alvaro Siza, as we mentioned earlier. Their collection primarily focuses on ceramics, including vases and ceramic lamps. And here they are showing an absolute premier furniture collection that they are going to launch this year in collaboration with the Pininfarina design studio. And it's quite inspiring because I haven't seen such a high-profile collaborations for a long time. The existing ones, of course, are developing, but something really new and so sound hasn't happened for a long time. Of course, the Maison&Objet exhibition is traditionally not without young talents. This time, the works of designers from different countries are presented, who in their works combine technology and so-called savoir-faire, or more traditional skills. And indeed, despite the fact that most of the items are made with the use of modern technologies, such as artificial intelligence and 3D printing, they look quite rustic and artisanal. The use of electric corrugation in order to create interior items is also to a certain extent a combination of modern technology and hand weaving. It looks quite unusual and to a certain extent echoes the general theme of the fair. Teaden itself is an installation zone designed by the trending agency Perclay Paris, and they represent here a new concept of the hospitality industry. At first glance, technology and nature may seem to be opposites, but Teaden is a garden of the future that combines them together. The garden is divided in 3 parts. The first one is so-called well-being cafe, and here the idea is that your well-being starts with food, what you eat and what you eat from. Here you can try the kiwi paper. It tastes pretty cool, I must tell you. Then there is a completely modern waiting room at the train station, where you can exercise while waiting for your train. Naturally, in the most technologically advanced way possible, with the help of the modern exercise equipment, or with the help of small weights. You can apparently even do it sitting in an alcove, which is quite a fun concept. In my opinion, it is quite realizable and will be in demand. Why sit or lie on these uncomfortable chairs? It's better to do some physical activity and spend time waiting for your train. The third zone is named Spa Room, and in this case we are not talking about a separate spa, we are talking about the fact that your hotel room can become a spa room. The main character here is the so-called sound bath. It looks more like a hammam, but you get pleasure and relaxation from emotionally rich sounds. And of course, there are all the other attributes that should be present in a good hotel room. In my opinion, it is quite thoughtful, but nevertheless, the guys are still a little bit in it. I would pay attention to the development of this unusual at first glance combination, especially since in sci-fi movies, as the authors claim. For example, in Avatar 2, we have already seen this concept, and sci-fi, as you know, is the forerunner of a future reality. Trend Zone was you in retail called Supersoft, and it is dedicated to retail design. It presents a concept from the authors François Delclos and BTC Design. It is a Supersoft connection of digitalization and physical interaction with products, the so-called phygitalization. In other words, the consumption patterns manifested in the digital world are transferring to the physical world. In the past, the display of goods was done either by form, by material, or by application, depending on the purpose of the items. But here they propose a slightly different approach, sorting by production method, sorting by age group of consumers, or sorting by technology. That is a kind of transfer of the experience of consumption on the internet. We all order everything on the internet now. This zone differs greatly from the previous ones, which focus more on design. However, design still needs to be marketed, and I find this concept very intriguing. Remember when we were at the Wellness and Pool show in Barcelona? We ended up in an actual functioning wellness center. So here we have something similar. This area is called the Wellbeing Experience, and it offers slightly different, totally innovative therapies. They are more aimed not only at tidying up the body, relaxing the body and making it healthier, but also at working with your mind. There are absolutely innovative things offered here. I was surprised at every word I read because I had not encountered these before. There are sonotherapy sessions here, the very acoustic baths that put your consciousness in order. There are lithotherapy sessions here. This is restorative power sleep with the use of some multisensory tools and crystals. A very unusual practice is called mind massage, among many other things. Again, a combination of technology and nature. Apparently, here we ourselves act as a natural element. Of course, it's very interesting and no less important that body care, that is consciousness care, is also such an unusual trend. Well friends, let me try to summarize my impressions of the Maison&Objet fair, which takes place in January 2024. First off, the main bottom line is that the show is now 30 years old. I think it's a really cool event. The trend zones and stands of the leading manufacturers reflected the theme of the exhibition in terms of design trends. First of all, it is a combination of nature and technology. Nature in all its manifestations, in materials and forms, and of course in colors. As for color, all earth tones are still relevant, including sand, terracotta and brick shades. Textures, volumes and tactile sensations are still important. And boucle, which we have already seen a lot of everywhere, has not gone away either. But white and grey boucle are a little bit in the background, colored boucle is appearing, and of course other textures in fabrics and in principle in all materials. Some manufacturers were even a bit surprised that they started to apply such treatments despite their already established image. Also relevant are craft practices and pseudo-craft practices. When a thing is made with a 3D printer or artificial intelligence, for example, but looks as if it was created by hand. and I find this combination quite interesting. I see a definite and quite big development here. In general, digitalization is literally evident in everything. These are preliminary conclusions. I think I still have to realize this. So don't switch yet, because tomorrow we will visit the galleries in Paris to see the new things presented there. By the way, if you are going to visit Maison&Objet next time, make sure to watch a pretty good video, as I think, where I tell you how this exhibition is organized and what you can find here in general. Don't forget to share this video with your friends. Maybe they too will be interested in knowing what's new in interior design and design in general in 2024. Don't forget to also give it a like. It's very important, not only for me, but also for the YouTube algorithms that will suggest this video to other interested viewers. Thank you, bye!